And right now you're working more primarily with the monitoring solution. Is that what you
Yes,
mentioned before? And
one
so
of my teams were working. Yeah.
can you break down how you're going about that? Are you building on
Yeah.
top of like Prometheus and Grafana, or are you using a third-party solution? How does that look?
Our MVP that's currently working, we built it, all of it with Fury's infrastructure. So first of all, we have a connector, is our an API for collecting the data, collecting your model inputs and outputs. So if you have your own custom model, you can use my library and it will send your records, your inputs and outputs to my infrastructure. Or if you are using FDA and you are using the already integrated solution, it's just a configuration. You enable the monitoring and then I start receiving. So all the infrastructure to receive all these records and store it in S3, okay? Right now, I'm using services of Mercado Libre, microservices, and we have a message queue, and I have databases, and I have storage provided by with the microservices of Mercado Libre. But this is not, it will not scale, okay? So my beta users actually, I can support up to, let's say, between 10 and 20K requests per minute. 20,000 requests per minute, okay? So it depends, of course it depends on the context, but for us, those are small models, okay? Because I want to attack what for me are the big fish, and it's, for example, the model that predicts how long it's gonna take a package to get to your house. So as soon as you navigate to the homes, to a page view, to an item view, you can see a little estimate there saying, it's gonna go to your house. So that's receiving a lot of traffic because every item somebody's looking at. And that API is handling like average 2,000 records per minute. Wow. And they've got spikes of almost 1 million records per minute. So that's the scale I want to handle. And I cannot do it with microservices. So I need to go to the infrastructure. I will need to use either Kinesis from Amazon or whatever Google provides and stuff like that. So now my team is working on that. We already have an MVP that's working, but we want to go to the big fish. So they started working with the infrastructure team to see how can we access, because as I'm telling you, the developers of Mercado Libre are abstracted from the cloud. So now I'm going beneath the infrastructure and I need access to specific cloud services. So then that's only to store all inputs and outputs. The current MVP works in the following way. If you have a model, we talk and we see what do you want to monitor? What are the checks that we want to do? What are the conditions? What are the assumptions? Typically, it's going to be about, these values can never exist, or this is the distribution of the inputs that I'm expecting, or this is the distribution of the outputs that I'm expecting. So those statistical checks typically, but then also maybe it's business checks. No, this value could never occur, or this relationship between this input and this output is impossible. Or if I have a sequence of 2,000 inputs that are the same, that may be a problem. So we define those checks. We implement specifically those checks for that model. And then we get all the records, and every day we run the checks for every model. So right now, that's automated. Okay?
I was going to ask, in all of these, when you're putting a model together and you're saying, all right, I'm pushing this model out, all of these things that you're looking for, is there a way that you can say, oh, well, I had a model that was similar to this, so I'm just going to take those checks and apply it to this model?
This is something we started this first, as we are in beta users. Okay, so we own all the monitors, so we know this. Oh, look, it's the same checks as that other model. But the idea in the future is that actually the users will be able to integrate and not me writing their checks. So I want to do some what we call generic monitors, and then we're talking with the data science team. And for example, if you have a binary classifier case, then if you have a binary classifier case, there is this standard set of checks that you should be doing. So I want to implement it as a base class kind of thing. Okay. So I'm thinking in an interface where the users, they know their models, they will be able to inherit from some base class, write their own code about their own monitors, and I should be able to automatically run their code and present them with an API to, dashboarding, alarms. Mostly what we are doing now is we are running the monitors once a day. So that means for some models, 1 day of data is not too much, but for some cases, 1 day of data is 0 gigabytes. So now that's what I have beta users. We are basically testing the interfaces, and we can see that until now it's working. So I need to scale. I can't process it in just a single machine. I will need to, I don't know, maybe leverage a Dask cluster or Spark cluster or something just to process the data to run your monitor. I need to integrate with the alarms system of Mercado Libre. You want to be alarmed if your model, outputs are not as expected. So right now it's what you report. Hello, model owner. These were your checks. These checks failed. These checks didn't fail, and stuff like that. So it's really an MVP.
That's so cool to hear.